How we doing, everybody? It is Sunday morning where I am here on the Pacific time zone right now. It might be later in the day where you are. I tend to be behind most of your time zones, but I wanted to give a quick update. We're a little over 24 hours past the giant dump that happened yesterday that saw Bitcoin drop all the way down to about 43.5K. Ethereum revisited the 3,500s for the first time in a long time. Altcoins all over the place were really dumping. Um, but if you were staying strong and you were patient, or you even bought the dip, which is obviously a very common and popular and often profitable strategy when you see these sizable dips, you're likely pretty happy with how markets have performed over the last day or so. You can see quite clearly here, we're looking at the last 24 hours of price performances. You can see up top here is the tree map where you can see the percent changes relative to the size of their market caps. You can see down here just the overall price changes all on an even axis right here. Bitcoin, of course, up a modest 5%. It was briefly up above 50K again before dropping back down to where it is now at the time of this recording at 49.6. Ethereum has had a pretty good 24 hours and is back up over 4,200. So on and so forth. You know, a few huge performers like Luna, like Gala, Quant here, and Ucash, among many. I mean, it's been a sea of green even beyond the top 100 assets or so that we're looking at here. And that's really not the point of the video. We're not really just going to only look at price. What we want to do is understand how to use sentiment screener to be able to react and decide which of the thousands and thousands of assets that are out there are actually showing the best opportunities to buy the dip. Or, you know, you can short these types of dips too if you believe that that's an adequate strategy in this kind of scenario. You don't want to just look at price performance, right? Some people may say, you know, just look at the ones that are actually performing the worst. You know, Hex is one of the few that's down right now. Are people who trade just the largest swings all supposed to buy just Hex because it's down the most? It's entirely up to you. I personally think that you should look at a whole lot more than just price swings over a certain period of time. This is exactly why we have sentiment, so that you can look at many different fundamental metrics out there to help you make the decisions that can kind of foreshadow where markets are going to go next and give you the best opportunity to capitalize on these large swings that result in days like we just had over the past 24 hours, where it was just a sea of green. You know, you've got down here the list of the assets just in the order of market cap. I can always change it. I can go by price changes. So these are the biggest losers over the past 24 hours. These are the biggest winners over the last 24 hours. I like to just look at the raw market caps so I can have Bitcoin, Ethereum right at the top. And then down here, these will always stay the same, where you've got the main assets listed vertically down here with a price chart widget. You've got their price, 1-day performance, and then you can even compare like how volume is performing from a percent change compared to that price, and find some similarities there that might align to find bullish and bearish divergences. Then you can also look at things like development activity, but this is all just the tip of the iceberg. You can actually, many people don't know, go into our filters and select through, sort of search through tons and tons of different metrics. Pretty much anything we cover on our charts page is available here in our filters as well. So I can say, you know, I want to look at volume and only find the ones where, only the assets where they have moved up double compared to a day earlier. And that'll help filter the over 2,100 assets down to 72 assets, right? And you can just filter out of here, and you can see by the largest market caps which ones are actually seeing double the amount of volume compared to 24 hours ago. SafeMoon apparently is the largest market cap asset out there that fits this description, and it's the 106th largest asset by market cap. So that's an interesting thing to look at. Of course, we can go far above and beyond just volume, and that's why we have some of these here. We have some baked in screeners for our lovely account users who are using Santiment either on free or pro status. And you can find things like exchange inflow anomalies, metaverse related assets, strong and oversold, daily active address anomalies, age consumed, top price performance. There's tons. You can make your own. I've made long and short types of filters. Just a raw one that shows pretty much all of the largest assets. And I'll show you a few of these really quick and just give you an idea of why this screener can be so valuable to really filter out the assets that don't really fit your trading strategies and hone in on the ones that do. So for example, I just mentioned the strong and oversold screener here. And what this does is it'll show just the assets where the market cap is over $1 million. Notice how I can't change this because it's a Santiment owned screener. But you can always copy this down and make it your own and save it as your own template for your screener. Market cap over $1 million, transaction volume above 100K in the last 24 hours, daily active addresses above 500. And then of course MVRV, which is the average trading returns, in this case over the last 30 days, being below 10%. So this will filter only the assets that are showing a large amount of trading losers, which historically is the ideal way to find assets that are perhaps a little bit oversold at this time, hence the name strong and oversold. So let me close out of this and you can see, let me check really quick. Yeah, there were 30 assets that fit this description because it's only looking at the large assets, of course, right now. And what do you know? Bitcoin's actually under there. Its MVRV has taken quite a beating, probably because it hasn't recovered as much in the past 24 hours as most of the altcoins. So its MVRV is still quite low. XRP is there. Hex is one of the few losers over the past 24 hours, but you can see several others. All sorts of different assets that you can look through based on these filter criteria that Santiment recommends for a basic strong and oversold type of screener. So if you're looking for somewhere to start, this is a really nice kind of rudimentary way of identifying assets where you can buy the dip when you see these types of big retracements happen like they just did to kick off this first weekend of December here. Another aforementioned screener would be the exchange inflow anomalies. So looking at the filter here, we can see that there's really just two filters we're looking at, volume being over 5 million and exchange flow being up 300% compared to a day earlier. This is super interesting because it filtered it all the way down to just 14 assets. Obviously, with the volume checked on, it's only really looking at those really high volume assets, but there would still be plenty if exchange inflow needing to be quadrupled wasn't a criteria on this watch list. So you look at this and you can find out exactly which ones are seeing a massive amount of inflow, which generally is not the best thing, right? If you've checked out many of mine and Dino's videos on our This Week in Crypto calls in the past, you've seen that when there's a massive amount of coins going into exchanges, this is often for the purpose of selling off assets, which can be a bit scary. So these might be some yellow flag or red flag assets to take a look at. So that's a couple Santiment suggested screeners that might be helpful to you. You can also just, in this case, I made a quick one showing our kind of coveted negative 15% as the standard to look at MVRV 30 days. So this just has one filter on and it's all assets that are under that negative 15% over the past 30 days of trading. In other words, the assets where traders are heavily underwater, kind of in that midterm time interval. You can see a lot of them are already rebounding. So something like Convex Finance is up 20%, but still has the MVRV below 15%. So that's quite interesting to see. So MVRV is kind of a no-brainer filter that you can look at if you're looking to find assets to buy dips on. You can also look at daily active addresses, not necessarily by size this time. I highlighted it by ones that essentially 4x'd their daily active addresses from the last 30 days. So whatever their average was 30 days ago compared to now, if it's essentially quadrupled that number or more, it's on this list. And there's very, very few of them. There's only a total of 31, but you can see them pop up here. Don't forget, you can still sort these any way you want. So you can go by price change, up or down, or market cap. You can also, I didn't even mention this, change the intervals from 24 hours to last 7-day price performance, or even 30-day price performance to really get an idea of how they've been performing. There it goes. Looks like this one might be an anomaly, probably an error in the data, so sorry about that, guys, but most of the rest of these are going to be valid here. Another one would be whale transaction count. So this metric is defined simply by uh, any transaction that exceeds $100,000 in USD. And when the amount of those whale transactions have doubled over the last 30 days, they belong on this filter. And pretty surprisingly, there's only 6 of them that fit this mold. I found that quite interesting myself. Last one I wanted to highlight was weighted sentiment. In this case, I'm highlighting only the super negative ones, the ones that are way, way below their normal standard deviation. In other words, how often people are discussing these assets multiplied by the positive versus negative ratio of the comments that we're picking up on the social platforms that we scrape here on Sentiment, that being Twitter, Facebook, Discord, Telegram, and some pro traders chats. And of these that have really, really negative sentiment at the moment, there are about 14 that fit the mold under that one. So long story short, there are tons and tons, really infinite possibilities in how you can set up your filter based on your own trading strategies. As you become more and more familiar with our metrics, it might come more and more natural for you to figure out which metrics are really key to your specific trading strategy, whether it's longing or shorting or hodling, or even just looking at assets that are having stable development activity. All very viable strategies await for no matter what type of direction you're looking to go with your trading. So I hope this helped, guys. Don't forget, as we finish off the year, we'll probably have another discount code coming up soon. Don't wait though. It may come in January, may come around Christmas. Really not sure yet. But make sure to like and subscribe if you like these kinds of videos, whether they're instructional or more market call related, which we've done on several other videos. We really appreciate the support. Hope you have a great rest of your weekend. And Dino and I are already looking forward to our next call with all of you next Friday. Talk to y'all soon.